I'm going to describe the book club form that I created over break. You will be using this if you are part of a book club. Each book club must have a planning meeting and my approval prior to your first actual book club meeting. This planning can be done on my campus messages, during read and feed. You can see me for Past My Room if it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. You can create a Google Doc where you guys are all working on it, or outside of class. You're going to need to fill out the first 2 columns of the table below during the planning stage. Okay, so here, this is a column. You guys will discuss the dates of your meeting. So the planning meeting, you'll just put whatever date here, meeting 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is below. There you go. And then you'll also need to fill this out. Okay, you're going to have your book. Obviously, you can't meet to plan until you have a book. You're going to divide that book into 4 parts. And then you're going to decide, can we read this book in 2 weeks? If not, we need to read the book in about a month. And so you're going to need to say, okay, this is in chapters. Let's do 1 through 5 on this day, or whatever. Be sure if you're going to do a book club that you get it started within the next couple of weeks to make sure you can get it finished. Then during the book club, you will write, if anybody's absent from your book club, just jot their name down, and maybe they're ill, so you just write ill. You need to talk to them, or they need to tell you how they're going to make this meeting up, because if they can't get 4 meetings in, then it can't count for them. So they can turn in their notes to you. You guys can meet a separate time just to get that person caught up, whatever you want to do. And then also here, you need to, I didn't leave you a lot of space, but you can put initials. On a scale of 1 to 5 on the first meeting, how did everyone participate? You know, I don't expect a lot of 1s, which would be they just sat there, and I don't expect a lot of 5s. But I do expect that if they really were the leader, then maybe they get a 5. But if they really had just a lot, some to say, or whatever, you know, maybe a 4. If they didn't really add anything relevant or had distracting behavior, then you're going to see a 1 or maybe even a 2. Okay, and this obviously, these parts will be done during the meeting. Now, if you'll scroll down, you'll see that I have written, you must have this sheet at lunch. So you need to have this sheet printed off. I can give you a hard copy if needed, and it needs to be folded into your book. That's the easiest way to not lose this sheet. I will sign it. You will put your name, and I will sign it here, and I will date it each time you meet. So on that particular day or the day before, just give it to me and I'll date it. This is your pass. You don't have to ask me for a pass anymore. This will be your actual pass. So make sure you bring it to the lunch period. Now, for meeting 1, this will be identical. Each of these sheets, the next 3 or 4 sheets that you will see, are identical to this one. Basically, number 1, you need to write a summary. Describe the 3 key events. Conclude with a main idea statement. So after you use those events, you know, this chapter was mainly about, or this section was mainly about, and just make a main idea statement out of that. And it needs to be at least 4 sentences. And then I want you to make a prediction about what will happen next. Now, your prediction needs to be linked to the events described in your summary and be at least 2 sentences. So for example, your prediction can be 1 sentence, and your evidence that supports it can be the other sentence. And you feel free to add more if you don't want to always do the bare minimum. The third thing you need to do is write a personal response to this assigned reading. It needs to be something that you can discuss with your group. It should be at least 5 sentences. Honestly describe and explain your thoughts and feelings as you read the assigned reading. If you're having trouble starting, you can use a list of these journal starters to help you. And then finally, record at least 1 question, and you can see that I have 2 questions here, but record at least 1 that you have read. Your questions have to be open-ended, and this means that there can always be more than 1 answer, and maybe you won't agree with somebody in your group, and that's a good thing, because that engages a healthy discussion. You also have to answer what you think. I know I say this 100 times a week, and yet I still get kids that won't answer. There's not always a right or wrong answer. It's just, what do you think happens? And then provide evidence to support it. You'll notice the answer has 2 lines, the question only has 1, so I expect you to have more in the answer section. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down because these are all the same for each individual meeting you have. And then finally, consider these ideas or add your own, meaning all of these questions do not necessarily have to be answered. Think of the ones that you want to talk about and then create a nice paragraph. How did your book club go? Would you do it again? What did you like about completing a book club? How well did your group meet your expectations? What did you do well? What could you have done better? Add anything of interest. It needs to be at least 150 words. I'm not going to count it, but I can see if you've put a lot of thought or effort. Please don't write really big with tons of spaces in between, or only use the middle. I am not dumb. Anyway, this is merely a template. You may complete all except for the planning sheet on your computer if it makes it easier. Don't lose the planning sheet. It's also your lunch pass.